Welcome to Podtheon. Very special show for you today. I'm joined by my normal two hosts, Lynx and Eddie G, as well as Sam Maciag from CBC's This is Saskatchewan. Welcome, Sam.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We're
Yeah,
very happy to have you.
Thanks for coming along.
I can't believe you're hanging out with three gaming nerds. This is great.
I live with one, so
Oh,
Yes, he's in our guild, Dizok Imperials. He goes by
Yes.
the name Hamburglar.
Robble
Yes.
Rob.
Robble Robble.
The Dire Lord.
Yes,
you guys know more about this than I do.
I know.
Sure.
He's
Well,
good at what he does.
We're going to tackle some serious subjects for a change. We'll talk about the game. So we came to an expert. We came to somebody who knows about this stuff or has at least experienced this stuff in her realm. So, Rick, why don't you take over?
Thank you. So I've come across a few articles and spoken to a few individuals lately, kind of about a zoomed out approach in terms of online gaming and more specifically MMO games. And I found a few articles that have kind of spoken to the negative and positive impacts of this. And one of them from Dr. Richard Sima from Johns Hopkins indicates that cooperative games can sometimes at least promote empathy and cooperative behaviors outside the game for both children and adults. However, there's other sides to that coin where things like pathological addictions to the game can cause negative relationships and negative impacts to mental health as well. And we found some aggregate studies that indicate that correlations are mostly found between problematic gaming, depression, and anxiety. So is there anything that you any wisdom you could share with us in terms of that?
Well, first of all, you make me sound much smarter than I am. But first of all, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a psychologist. But I talk to a lot of doctors and I talk to a lot of psychologists in my day job. Something that I think, first of all, like living with someone who plays video games and like having this experience myself. When I was younger, I always had said I was not interested in dating someone who played video games because my dad is a gamer. And my dad, when I was younger, would often go on these like ridiculous raids, no offense, that would go for hours and hours and hours. And my mom would be left alone. And it was just something that I was not interested in. I was not interested in that kind of partnership, but things with my dad have ebbed and flowed. And it's not to say like they're still married. They're still good. Like they've been married 42 years. So, I mean, they're good. And dad still plays games and mom has her own time and stuff like that. But it's just something that I observed when I was younger that I was like, I'm not interested in this. This is not. And then I met Daniel and he's just like my dad. So that's hilarious. And they play games together sometimes. So, when it comes to like the mental health of gaming and stuff, it's been interesting to watch adult men and how they frame their friendships. If you're not someone involved in sports, then video games are kind of, I think, how men build their friendships, particularly in the online world, in those like parasocial and social online relationships. So I could see how as you get older, those online relationships can become more important, especially if you don't have like a close-knit group of guy friends around you. I remember during the pandemic, the time we don't like to talk about, that boys and girls dealt differently with like their social and their mental health. We talked to a lot of kids. Girls really struggled. And I say this generally because gender is what it is, and there's always outliers, but girls really struggled because they tend to socialize in groups, in person. They like to talk. And I'm using these as generalizations, right? Like there's always, there's other things to this too. But when it came to boys who played video games, they were fine. You mean I have permission to go online and play with my friends, which I was already doing anyway, and that's okay. So we saw a shift in how people use FaceTime, and girls would use, still try and get that social time in playing games online with their friends, whether it was card games or whatever. I know even as an adult, there was that house party app that lots of people used where you could log on and you could play like Uno with your friends, but you were
Yeah.
over video and you could have drinks and do all of those things. So I could see, particularly when we're talking mental health and video games, what a difference they made during the pandemic. Outside the pandemic, I think it depends on your family and your experience and your ability to do things outside the home, your access to things outside the home, your financial privilege too. Like not everyone can afford to put their kids in, hockey and band and basketball and soccer and engineering camps and all of those things where paying for a subscription for a video game once a month, maybe you end up with a kid who wants to develop video games. So I have really learned not to be super judgy as I would have been when I was younger around it. But I also know that if you won't get off the computer and we have stuff to do, I am going to absolutely lose my ever living mind.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
It's
what
interesting.
that's my long answer to that.
Yeah.
The studies that
Yeah.
you found. That's what I would say about
I think it's a
that.
very interesting dichotomy, which you brought up between the differences in like how men handled it and how women handled it. And do you think that that's really like a nature thing, or is that more of the way that because of culture?
Okay, that's North American culture because that is here. I don't know that that's the same in Italy or in the United Kingdom, or I mean that's North American culture because North American video game culture is a thing of its own.
Right.
I think in Japan and Korea they have a different video game culture, but they still have a video game culture. So, but I think North American speaking, when you're talking about games like Fortnite, or Call of Duty or Grand Theft Auto, those are all marketed at men. Those aren't marketed to women, right?
Right.
So then you've got things like Animal Crossing or like I'll play Mario games. But for the most part, it's marketing, and it's not just a product of like culture, it's a product of marketing in video games and where these big companies are seeing their audience and who they can earn subscriptions from and who are going to pay for the new versions of their games. Like how many versions do you need of some of these games? Some of you would say endless, give me a new version of everything. I love this game. It's so fun for me. But like when I'm reading a book series, eventually they come to an end, a natural end. Not everything needs to be reinvented 75 times. I might say the same thing about Superman. How many Superman movies do we need? I know people love the new one, but they have not loved all of them. And I think it's in some cases it's a marketing thing, it's a money thing, and people who are caught up in the world of it don't see it necessarily as, oh, they've updated this patch and now I have to pay this for this, but I love the game and my friends are playing, so I'm going to pay for it too. But do you need it to enjoy the game? Maybe not. So I think that we aren't as cognizant of the money machine and the millions and billions of dollars that are also behind video games.
Right.
Very well spoken.
Yes. I mean, yeah, and it's funny how, I came from a different generation where we went out and played and we socialized through that,
Yeah.
and sports and just goofing around in the neighborhood. And
Your parents kicked you outside.
yeah,
Get
there
out.
was-
See
there
you when
was-
the lights go out. Like, or come on,
exactly. Right, exactly. I'll call for you when it's dark. And we would go off, we'd play in the woods, we would, we would make go-karts, we would come up with all these crazy things to do. And I wonder about the kids today. Again, I don't have any children, so I'm not that concerned, but I am concerned for the future of the kids, not socializing face to face. So what would you think, what do you think the validity of playing games with another person as opposed to in real life interactions?
I don't know that it matters as much as we think it does. I think the difference is if your brain is being challenged. Like that's what I worry about is your ability to think critically, your ability to have problem solving skills so that you don't just have a meltdown when something doesn't go your way, your ability to work with other people. on things. I don't know that I'm as worried about kids these days. When it comes to like playing games and physically doing something. In our house, we have a 13-year-old. She loves Roblox. And that has turned into she wants to be an interior designer. Like she wants to go to school. She likes architecture. She likes building things. I mean, she's like her dad, but she fosters that through building these houses and designing these things. And she's always like, look at this house that I built and let me take you through it. And so in some ways, it's not all bad, but it takes seeing it. And it also takes paying attention to what kids are doing online for you to know if you need to be worried or not. I'm by no means a parenting expert. But in talking with other experts and talking with other parents and seeing it play out, it's not all bad. I think if you're still getting the ability to problem solve, you're still working on your people skills. You're not, I mean, it's different if your kid's throwing controllers at the wall
Yeah.
and the game is like having a detrimental effect on their mental health or their ability to cope with like hard things. But if they're still getting that social structure, I'm learning more about how people learn and how they interact. And if they're still capable of going out in public and buying their groceries and doing the things that they need to do, go to the doctor to like have a regular existence, if they're not turning into a recluse that's unable to leave the house, I don't know that it's as big of a deal as we think it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is some evidence, at least some studies to support that. Dr. Kochirin Wu from the Taiwan University has coined I don't know if he coined it or he's adopting the term, but FSDOP, feelings of social connection with distant other players. And he writes an article, a publication that talks about the practice of virtual friends versus in-person friends, kind of like what you were mentioning, Eddie, where, as a kid, you'd always go out and talk to people individually.
You go
And-
call on your friends. Ding dong. Can
Right.
someone come out to play?
Exactly. Precisely.
I'd go to like bowling alleys. They might have arcades. You can stop by and goof around with those, but you're still with people interacting, doing life.
Yeah, or you'd meet in a parking lot and you'd go ride your bikes around or whatever. And even if you were on your own, you knew that there'd usually be someone there, so you could go do something.
Mm-hmm. And
there's none of that anymore.
Relating to kind of what you said about the money and following the money for these things,
Mm-hmm.
Dr. Wu also talks about brand intimacy in terms of the gaming companies and how there can be loyalty and customer engagement with the brands, and how that can be both an effect on financials as well as relationships for the individuals. So it's kind of an interesting contrast there, where they show the gaming companies' financials and the relationships that are being built, which I think kind of goes back to what you were saying, where like, does it matter? Does it really warrant the concern that people kind of have about that?
I think in some ways it does, because as a journalist, I'm always critical about the why. Like, why does everybody need to have this? Why does everybody want this? And who's benefiting from it? Like, are the people who are playing the game, are they the ones actually getting a benefit? Or is it the company that's walking away with millions and billions of dollars? And I'm also critical of like, what is that company doing with the money? Like, is the money, are they reinvesting in the company? Are they also investing in programs that help kids or help other adults, that don't have necessarily access or have the means? So I think in some ways it's like, I'm a Nintendo girly. I like Nintendo. That's where my interests are. I've never really mastered another gaming system. I don't care to. Mario's great. But, and then there's people who are very loyal to Blizzard and World of Warcraft and all of those things, and they love it. But at the end of the day, I think that in the video game world, there's a lot of blind loyalty to, I love this character, I love this game series, Assassin's Creed, Grand Theft Auto, whatever. You just want the next game because you don't necessarily care what the company is doing, because it's feeding, your entertainment as well. And that's the other thing that's hard, is entertainment's expensive. So if you're getting socialization and entertainment out of something, then it's, 6 of one, half dozen of the other. So there's good and bad that comes with everything. But I think it's the blind loyalty that becomes a problem just in society in general, where we just accept things for what they are. We accept things for what they cost. And it doesn't always have to be that way, and it shouldn't always be that way. I think more people need to be. I think so many people are critical of the media, but I think, and it is important to be critical of the media, but I also think that they need to be critical of the things the media are being critical of as well. And just
Yeah.
because you don't like something doesn't make it not true. And I think if more people were critical of things in general and having that, like, why is this way? Why do I have to pay that? What does this company actually stand for? Then it wouldn't hurt so much when a company does something bad and the media comes out about it, and you don't have to stand on your little soapbox and say, but that's my favorite thing in the whole world, and I'm so mad that you've exposed it. Well,
Yeah.
if you were a little more of a critical consumer, you would have already known that. And then you have to make the decision of, do I care that this company or this person is doing terrible things? Or do I just compartmentalize and be like, I really like the product and I'm just going to pretend that I don't know. And if things go sideways, then that's the way it is. And we're seeing that with things like Tesla, right? Where people feel a certain way about Elon Musk, and shares in the company dropped extensively when things went down with Doge and Trump. But there are people who just love the cars. And so, or they just love Starlink. So they just choose to stick their head in the sand and be like, well, I like what it's doing for me, so I don't really care about everyone else. And that's just a decision you have to make as a consumer.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of going back to your point that you made about the funding and asking the appropriate questions of why as a journalist. And aside from just the funding, there's also the value of the data that can be collected from these games.
Oh my God.
And right?
People and data collection. Like, I am off so many, like, I have 2 social media accounts now. I got rid of everything else. But for me, it's people so willingly just like, do I online shop? Yes. But do I consider where my passwords are? Do I consider what websites I'm going to? Do I consider when I click accept on cookies, what website I'm on?
Right.
The things that are tracking me. These video games, particularly with microphones, like, think of all of the times that you've said something around your phone and suddenly the advertising that pops up. Before we got a cat, we were researching what kind of cat litter. I still get litter robot ads.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
It's
And
8 months later, and I'm
Yeah.
still getting litter robot ads.
I'm sure that things like this are articulated inside of the end user license agreements, but who reads those? I mean, I know lawyers that don't read them. So, I mean, it really
Check a
begs the
box and
question about,
Get
right?
me into the game.
But
or
if you
what-
read them, would it change your mind?
Probably
That's the
not.
question.
or not.
Because you
I
still
want
because
that.
you can't use the product
Right.
Correct.
if you don't agree to it. So you click accept, you move on. You've agreed to give them every picture you ever post. You agree to give them your birthday, where
Yeah.
you live, every trip you check into, the things you like, the things you don't.
Correct.
You agree to them targeting you for marketing, which in turn targets you for spending more money. And again, not asking the why.
Yes. And, I think that you're really correct in saying, like, why. So, for instance, the data collection in terms of these video games, why are they taking it? And alongside with what are they doing with it? Are they using it
Who
to
are they
enhance
selling
the
it
game
to?
better? Right.
Yeah,
Or are
they're
they
selling it to advertisers.
And
Right.
then profiting.
Have you-
So where's really the value here? Is the value inside of the gamer subscription, or is it inside of the data that they're collecting from it and then in turn selling it to some larger organization that's going
Right.
to appropriate it for their own means?
Have you ever watched Shark Tank? They talk all the
Yeah.
time when these
Yeah.
like tech companies come up and they talk about their databases. Sometimes the databases are more valuable than the product.
But yeah, I guess it is. The data collection is their bread and butter in a lot of cases where they will make a lot of money from it.
Mhm.
And, in my case, I'm just like, get me to the game, get me to the app. I'll check any box because, I guess they prey on our impulsive.
They do.
It
You know,
carries
and-
over in games too. I don't even read quests. I just want to get right to the
Yeah.
rewards. I want to just click. Okay, I don't want to read all that. Click, click,
You
click,
want to
click,
get to the keyword, right?
Yeah.
Just
What am I
keyword.
getting? What's the result? What do I
Yeah.
get?
Yeah. And,
It's kinda
being
weird.
careful and watching the money, and kind of what you said, Sam, kind of reminds me of a quote by Elon Musk, is that when you're not paying for the product, you are the product. And You know, that's really true in a lot of these things. So, you know, you obviously these services, especially inside of games, that could be for free. Well, where are they making money for you? They're making money on you because you're the product that they're producing. They're
It's
collecting the data on
it's
you.
funny that you mentioned that because a friend of mine was like, "You got to try this app that gives you like $10 off your meal from like a local restaurant." And he
Mhm.
goes, "It's free." He goes, "There's I looked for a catch, and there's no catch." And I'm saying to myself, "There's a catch."
Yeah.
And what you guys just said, that's exactly what it is. They're collecting your info. They're collecting, you, your information, and that's the product. Like Elon.
It's not just that though. It's so this company probably paid to be on that app to get it in front of you
Oh,
to
that's
give you
true. Yeah.
$10 off, but you're not spending $10. You're
Right.
spending way more than $10. So
Exactly.
now not only have you got into this company, you've gone into this restaurant, you spent more money, maybe you like it. So maybe now you'll go back. Now you've invested more than $10. Plus they know that this is something you like because you bought in. So now that app is going to feed you another coupon that is similar to that one for a similar business. Then they're going to make money off that business because they have paid to have a coupon on their site. So like a coupon it's never free.
Right.
Right.
Right. And
It's
now,
never,
Link,
it's never truly free. I mean, unless you're an extreme couponer, in which case those
which I am.
humans and the way their brains work,
That's
they're
impressive.
magical humans and I'm not at their level. But when it comes to regular consumers who are just like, oh, I got a coupon, let's go use it. You're not actually, in the most cases, unless you were going to go there originally and that was part of your plan for the day, you're not actually saving any money, you're spending money.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. 100% right on this because that's really the nature of the coupon is that it requires an engagement with the brand, business, or product first, and then you're saving some money, hopefully. And Links, would you agree that this kind of practice would be tantamount and metaphorically equivalent to in-game purchases in some games? For instance, like microtransactions for things like skins and so on and so forth.
I mean, it sounds like it. It's not predatorial, but it's a way to get you connected to the game. You
Mhm.
feel invested. You grow attached to your character, or like say you're
Right.
building a little farm, and they said, "Hey, man, for $5, you can get this one of a kind little statue of a little piglet that you can put in front of your farm." Or you can spend 15 hours doing surveys in the games or watching commercials in the games and accumulate coins and turn that coin into a currency and purchase it.
Right.
You're not actually spending your money. You're just playing the game you love.
Yeah, yeah, and these freemium models are very successful, and I think you mentioned it earlier, Sam, with Fortnite. Notoriously, it's a free game, but the in-game purchases and microtransactions make it a much more profitable game than some of the ones that you'd buy for 70, 80, $100 even. So it's
100%.
Mhm.
yeah, you know, the in-game purchases and stuff like that, the marketing inside of it, the data collection, these are what are driving, I think, a lot of these types of games behind the scenes. And like back to your original point of why, of like what's going on here, following the funding and stuff like that. So
But
I,
I think we live in such a like busy world that like when you're going to play a video game, this is your downtime. Like you're going to relax, or what if you're scrolling on your phone, you're not there to be in investigator mode. You're there to like relax after a long day. You're there to catch up with your friends. You're there to like log into the game because you get a reward for being there so many days in a row. Like you're not there to be like, why do they want me to do this? And so they're preying on that factor too, right? Like no one logs into an app store and is like, I'm going to check the fine print of all of these.
Yeah.
No, you're looking for functionality, you're looking for fun, you're looking for free, and you're looking for something that you can play for an extended period of time before they're like, oh, you have to pay for that. So you're not there to look at the fine print or the why or who developed this and I mean, then you get into the whole other discussion of what country does it come from?
true.
Because you look at ByteDance and TikTok, and that is a whole other can of worms when you consider data and information.
Right. And you're giving it to foreign countries and whatever they're doing with it.
Where you are, what you're doing, all of those things, right?
Mhm.
I
And
mean, I'm
we're
on
really,
TikTok. I can't judge, but when you're considering information, It's like, how much do you care that this information could be sold to the Chinese government?
Totally agree. I understand exactly what you mean. There's a level of apprehension that everybody needs to really take and think about critically and analytically before making larger decisions on things like this.
But if you're addicted to it, you'll still log into TikTok tonight before you go to bed.
Yep.
Let me ask you this: if you weren't involved in media, would you be a TikTok subscriber?
I don't know, honestly. I got onto it because we have a TikTok channel at work and I was trying to understand it. And then now I send videos back and forth with my friends and it's kind of a social thing for us. Like, it's like, I'm thinking this made me think of you, or this made me think of you. I don't know if I would use it if I wasn't in the media. I don't know if I would use it. I don't use it very much. Like, it's not an everyday thing for me. I have my notifications turned off. I don't have more than 1,000 followers. I can't like host a live or do any of those things. Like, I'm not super engaged. Like, I've posted videos and stuff like that, but I'm not super engaged in it in the way that I probably should be. But I'm also, by standards, old compared to the people who use TikTok most regularly. So I don't know. I don't know if I would or wouldn't use it. I like it for mindless, like, time killing purposes.
Would you not use it because of, from a standpoint of who might be looking at your information, or just it wouldn't interest you?
I am such an open book. If you think I'm that interesting,
that's the same way I feel. I'm like take my data. I have nothing to hide. Like I'm saying,
not. I'm frankly not that interesting. I'm not in I'm in a very public career, but I'm not in a job where I'm harboring national secrets. I'm not. No one.
Rake is the opposite. I told him a story about how I went to a meet and greet to see a certain hockey player, and
who did you go meet?
Chris Kreider of the New York Rangers.
Okay.
And during the meet and greet, the host of the show said, "Can I have your phone? I want to take a picture of you." And my friend would not allow the guy to take his phone and take the picture. Now, to me, I thought my friend was kind of like, come on, it's just your phone. They're gonna snap a pic. But Rake was apoplectic. He would not let anybody touch his phone.
Really, Rake?
What could you possibly think that the person was going to do with your phone in the 4 seconds it takes to take a picture?
That's all the time it takes to completely hijack a system. I mean,
see,
I'm no white knight.
Well, what system would you like? I have very important phone numbers in my phone.
Well, you have a bank on your phone, right? You have Amazon.
Yeah, I have my bank account. I have my phone. I have very important phone numbers. Very important.
Trudeau's number is in there.
Do I have whose numbers?
Trudeau's number is in there.
No Trudeau's numbers. I do have politicians' phone numbers though.
Ah, okay.
But
I couldn't
maybe
relate
that's
to that,
the
but I
naivety
understand
of me,
Rake.
but at a hockey meet and greet event, as a general member of the public, like, it would be different if I was the premier or
it's
a
trusting,
senator in your case in the States. But I am not someone important that they're going to hack into my phone and take something important. Yeah, I have banking information on my phone. It's also encrypted, and I also have a good password.
Like, I'm not making fun of Rake. I'm not mocking you, Rake. I'm just saying there's a different point of view than me, who's like, come on.
Have you been hacked, Rake? Is that do you come from the place of
I'm acutely aware of the vulnerability of the digital presence, and that it takes like with these no-click interaction things that you can have on your phone, where you have an encrypted bank account, you have this and that, but do you really want to have somebody spend $25,000 on a transmission somewhere in Singapore and you don't know where this money went? Do you want somebody to order, $700 of paper towels and sent to Detroit,
That's
Michigan?
what insurance
I don't want
is
that.
for. That's what insurance
Rake,
is for.
has this happened to you? If people bought paper towels with your
account? A whole new episode.
No, but it can. Is my point. Is that the caution that one needs to take can't be underestimated.
10 years from now, we might be saying you were right and we were wrong. So you know what? To each their own.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought it was a different.
But I would have raised my eyebrows at him for not giving him the phone. So did he not get his picture taken?
Oh
I
no,
would
it
have
was
done
a
this.
total scene. He
I would
held
have
up
done
the
it.
line. My friend held up the line. He said, "No, I refuse to give you my phone." And the guy was like, "Well, we can't have people taking pictures because we have a certain allotted time with this guest, and
Yeah.
people want to take 40 selfies, and we just have a young lady take the picture and move on." Total scene caused and it was terrible. And I was cringing in the back and running away from him.
I don't know this man. I don't know
I
this
don't know
man.
who he is, whatever. But it was cause for alarm. So, Rake, I can't bring you to any celebrity events
Hey,
anymore.
admittedly, in this specific
Wow.
example, I would have given the individual my phone at a
Okay.
meet and greet to do.
Oh,
But
We had this whole discussion, and in the end, you would have done it.
Yeah, really.
Well, the condescension was that I don't trust people with my device because it's
Oh, that's
so
fine.
linked.
I wouldn't give my phone to a stranger for more than 3 seconds either.
Yeah.
But to take a picture, that's fine.
Okay. But I just thought like I was going to have an ally when I told this story that Ray could be like, "What is your friend, an idiot?" And he was like, "No, I wouldn't give my phone either." Because me and Ray, we're simpatico on a lot of stuff.
I feel like you just don't go to the meet and greet and don't get your picture taken with people if you don't like people touching your phone.
There you go.
I can't
That's
even
why
get
I
into
didn't.
the story.
I wasn't there.
It's a multi-layered story that would take an hour to tell.
No kidding.
Yes, it was terrible.
I wonder if we'll ever have a meet and greet one day.
Yeah.
Yeah, Rick's here, but he's allowing you to draw. Here's his paper.
Yeah.
You can
He
draw
won't
his
let me take a
picture. You're not allowed to
Have
take
an etch a
pictures of
sketch.
him.
Because you can shake it up after and get rid of all the information.
Yeah, that's what I got to use. I used my banking on an Etch a Sketch actually.
Wow. There you go.
Yeah.
That's
This
where
is
my
advanced.
password is stored.
Sponsored by. No, just kidding.
But
So-
before we kind of end here, the last thing I wanted to talk to you about, Sam, was about community. Was about gaming communities, and that there's a certain sense of community that gets fostered, particularly with these closer knitted online games like the one that we play, Pantheon. And these types of communities aren't necessarily found everywhere, but they are found frequently inside the online gaming community. And like, for instance, Eddie and Lynx and Daniel, even, I speak to very often, and I know these guys better, and in some cases, than people I know in real life. And so I'm just curious what your thoughts are on this type of a thing.
Funny story. The other night, I logged into TikTok for the first time in forever, and a friend of mine was hosting a live. And I clicked on it, and so he invited me into it, and it was just a group chat. And so I was talking to someone from New York and someone from Alabama, and it was just this like really random group chat plus a friend of mine. And we got into this like really interesting discussion. And so I took my phone into the bedroom because I was like, Daniel was talking to you guys and playing. And he came in when I was done, and he said, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I was in a group chat on TikTok. I don't know. Chris started it. It was fun. It was interesting." And he's like, "You were talking to strangers?" And I said, "You do that every day." And he's
Every
like,
night.
"But I know them." And I said, "There was a time you didn't. And they were just strangers. How is this any weirder than what you do every night? Except I don't wear dorky headphones when I do it."
Oh.
And he was like,
Hey.
"Oh,
Hey,
oh, you're all in headphones." Sorry. Hey, real life is real life, okay? So he was like, "Oh, I guess," and like went back, and he may or may not have told you about it, but I thought it was so funny that I was like, how is this any different from what you're doing here? Like, it's harmless conversation. I can talk to anyone, anywhere. And Daniel's very much the same way. We have gone on like trips together where we're like sitting in a hot tub in a hotel, and he just like chats up the dude sitting next to him. I'm like,
Yeah.
Daniel, we're in a hot tub why are you just talking to random men in hot tubs? Stop it. But he's so chatty. And I'm the same way. So for me, the community stuff, like I love that. Like I love being out, and I would rather talk to people than like scroll my phone. The only place that's an exception is on an airplane, because you're trapped. So if you get into a conversation with someone who's terrible or crazy, you're stuck next to them for the next whatever
For
number
7
of
hours.
So I don't engage on airplanes if I can help it, because you don't know what you're stuck next to for a significant amount of time. But I love it. I love when people come up and have conversations with me about things they see on the news or say things they hear on the podcast or whatever it is. And I think that's very much like gaming. I think it's cool that you can have friends in different places. My dad, like I mentioned earlier, played games for years. He's gone on many trips to the States where he's met friends in person. He's gone for supper with them, like people that he's talked to forever, and they pick up like no time's gone off. I think it's a little bit weird off the top. Like it's a little bit like a weird blind date because you've been talking to each other forever and you're like, is it you? Is it
Yeah.
like, you know, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
think
try
it's
to
cool that
picture
you
the
can have
boy.
friends all over the world and have those interactions with people and learn about different places and agree to disagree in a healthy way. I think that that's one thing that video games can give you is exposure to people who aren't like you and don't think like you. And I think that in this world, that's more important than ever. And the fact that you could have a discussion and agree to disagree or agree or like think about something in a different way that maybe they've never that you'd never thought about before. Like, oh, I'd never thought about it like that.
Mhm.
And it's because someone's given you their life experience and you get a lot of that in the conversation, particularly in like conversations in the games you guys are having. Like when I play online games, it's like Mario Party. And we're mostly like destroying each other over a board game. So it's mostly smack talk and not a lot of like, how are you? And we'll like log on to like FaceTime or something so we can talk
Yeah.
while we're playing. But I don't know. I think it's great. I think community is great any way you can find it because I think in a world where we can be increasingly isolated and in times where we increasingly disagree with each other about things, I think having community where you can find it in a healthy way that like supports you and makes you feel like you belong is a good thing.
Keyword
Yeah.
healthy.
Especially in MMOs, it's like, you know, you get to meet.
What does MMO stand for?
Oh,
You guys have said it so many
Allow
times.
me.
links?
Massively multiplayer online.
I knew multiplayer was going to be one of the words.
Yes.
I did not know what the rest of them were. I was like, they keep talking about MMOs. I know what RPOs.
Yeah.
Right.
And then they add RPG as role playing game. So
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
As opposed to console games with, you know, you're playing like we were talking before the show, like Call of Duty, where it's basically F you, screw you. It's all, you know,
Yeah.
Gamer
Those are,
kind of thing. You're not getting to know your guy.
yeah.
You know, on a one-on-one player type of game, you're
Yep.
just trash talking the other guy the entire time.
Well,
Whereas this
you know-
now we have a guild, and
yeah, exactly.
we get into each other's lives and kind of get to know people on. And I say I always take a little bit of a use a big college word umbrage
Oh,
of people saying real friendships and, you know, in game. I think it's all real. Like I give the same validity to my relationship with Rake and Lynx that I give to my friends that I grew up with, John and Vic. You know,
Right.
they're what happens to them is important to me. I mean, I'm not living and dying on what Rake and Lynx are doing, but
well, you should be. I mean,
I really should. I'm very insensitive. I'm an insensitive man, but I do. You know, I'm interested in them. You know, we're spending every day for 6-7 months together,
exactly.
and
And there's a difference between kind of the relationships that we've developed here inside of Pantheon, Rise of the Fallen, versus what Eddie had discussed of things like Call of Duty. And in the wise words of Tyler Durden from Fight Club, they are more single-serving friends.
wow,
Right?
you're full of quotes. You have Elon Musk, you have Tyler Durden, Tyler Durden. You have everybody. You're a quote master.
Well, my point is that the friends you make in Call of Duty, where you're within this lobby for 15 seconds before the match or something, that's somebody you're going to talk smack to. It's a single-serving friend. You're going to see him once, and you're never going to see him again. And interestingly, he made that comparison on an airplane, Sam. So, kind of full circle here.
But isn't Tyler Durden a character created by Chuck Palahniuk?
Yes, and it was actually the main character. Was
Yes.
the same guy.
Yes.
Right.
But still,
Okay.
it's a relevant quote.
Yes, yes. I won't
Yeah.
dispute that.
Okay.
Well, anyway, anybody have any final thoughts? Links.
I don't think much.
Okay.
You don't
Easy.
think much? I think it's been an absolute pleasure.
I think it was a great interview. I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming. I
You're
hope you
welcome.
enjoy the world around you and the games that you may or may not play. I hope we see you again maybe in the future. If not, thank you for your time.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
I had an absolute pleasure shooting the proverbial, you know what. With it was great, covering all these topics. And I'm definitely gonna check out that game you recommended before the show, Overcooked.
Overcooked.
I'm gonna get my family.
Play it with your family members. Play it with your kids. Be prepared to scream at each other, but in the funniest way. Like so much laughing.
Super.
But we're Italian, so that's gonna New York City Italians. It should.
It's got a New York vibe to it. Like it's spaghetti and burgers and yeah, it's great. It's cute. It's super cute, and also will make you scream at each other in the funniest way. You're like, I need the dishes.
Yeah.
I hear that.
Thank you very much again, Sam. We had a great time having you on here, especially you taking your time to talk to us knuckleheads about nonsense. So we really appreciate it. We hope to see you again soon, and tell Daniel we said hi and get in game.
Okay, will do. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
All right.
We're out.
And we're clear.
Okay. Well, I hope that was fun for you guys.
Thank you so much. That was great.
Man,
no, it was great.
I meant I don't think much. I didn't mean like I don't think much about the interview.
No, I know what you meant.
I'm not thinking much. I'm just here.
No, it was great.
Fun, though.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I'm going to go back to work.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
All right. Happy editing.
Yeah, bye.
Thank you.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye-bye.